Welcome back to the deep dive. We're about to plunge into something that might be literally supporting you right now, or, well, maybe causing you a little grief.
Uh-huh.
We're talking about the unsung hero, maybe, of the modern workspace, the ergonomic chair for your home office.
Yeah, it's a subject that's become, well, incredibly relevant, hasn't it? So
Yeah.
many of us shifted to working from home.
Right.
And maybe that dining chair or even the sofa seemed okay at first. But our bodies are definitely starting to notice now.
Oh, absolutely. And that's exactly where our source material for today's deep dive comes in. We're going to unpack insights from an article called Top 13 Ergonomic Chair for Home Office in 2025.
Okay.
And it doesn't just list chairs. It really looks at what makes a chair truly ergonomic and, maybe more importantly, why that matters so much now.
Right. So our mission today is really to pull out the key bits from this piece. We want to help you, cut through some of the noise,
Yeah.
understand the different types, the features, and hopefully get a clearer picture of what might genuinely be the right fit for you and your setup.
Because, as the author points out, those little aches, that shoulder pain or maybe that twinge in your lower back,
Mhm.
that's often your body saying, hey, this chair isn't working. A good ergonomic chair isn't just some fancy extra. The article really frames it as key for posture, focus, and avoiding pain.
Exactly. It moves it from just thinking about comfort right now to seeing it as a necessary tool for your physical well-being, especially if you're spending hours at a desk.
Okay, let's get into it then. First things first. What does ergonomic actually mean when we talk about a chair, and why does the article make such a big deal about it?
Well, simply put, an ergonomic chair is designed to work with your body, not against it.
Okay.
It's built to help you sit correctly, support your natural posture, and cut down on strain. The main goal, and the article really stresses this, is pretty simple. Help your body while you're fitting, don't hurt it, prevent those common aches.
So it's not just about being comfy or having lots of padding, it's more about the shape and the support.
Exactly. It's about following the natural curves of your spine, and this is crucial, allowing for a lot of adjustments, so the chair fits you.
Right.
The author, for instance, mentions being 5'4", and they learned quickly that a chair designed for someone taller just wasn't going to work, no matter how plush it felt.
Yeah, you shouldn't have to sort of twist yourself to fit the chair.
Precisely. The chair should adapt to you.
And the why it matters part, it feels like it goes beyond just, feeling a bit stiff at 5 p.m.
Oh, it really does.
Mm.
The article drives this home. Sitting for 6, 8, maybe even 10 hours a day, that's just not what our bodies evolved for.
True.
And when your chair doesn't give you the right support, your muscles are working overtime just to hold you up. Or worse, you slump into really unhealthy positions.
Mm-hmm.
The source points out things like neck pain, which can come directly from a chair forcing you to, crane forward or slouch down.
Mm-hmm.
It's not just about feeling bad now. It's about preventing that cumulative stress on your whole body.
So this isn't a luxury item then. It's more like an investment in avoiding future problems.
That's exactly how the article positions it. It's a core part of a healthy workspace. Essential for your physical health, yeah, but also for keeping your focus over those long stretches.
Okay, so if it's that important, what specific things does the article say we should actually look for? What makes an ergonomic chair, work?
Well, the absolute number one thing, according to this piece, is adjustability.
Okay.
And that means more than just making the seat go up and down. A truly ergonomic chair needs to let you adjust the backrest angle, the armrest height, and often width too, and really importantly, the seat depth.
Seat depth. Okay, why is that one so critical?
The article kind of illustrates this. If the seat's too deep for you, right, the back of your knees bang against the edge, and your lower back can't actually reach the support, so you slouch. But if it's too shallow, you don't get proper thigh support, which can mess with circulation.
Okay, that makes sense. You need that sweet spot.
Exactly. You want your back properly against the backrest, with maybe 2 fingers width between the seat edge and the back of your knees. The Gabrielli Ergonomic Mesh chair, which they mention as a bestseller, part of its appeal is apparently that it hits those 4 key adjustment points well.
Okay, adjustability is king. What else is on the list?
Next up is lumbar support. So support for your lower back.
Right, that curve in your spine.
Precisely. Its job is to maintain that natural inward curve, the lordosis. That curve acts like a shock absorber. Without support, it tends to flatten out when you sit, which puts more pressure on your spinal discs.
Ouch.
Yeah. The article notes that a lot of good mesh chairs now have adjustable lumbar pads, so you can slide it up or down to hit exactly the right spot for your back.
Got it. Support the curve. Makes sense. What about the actual material of the chair? Does that matter much?
It definitely does, and the article lays out the trade-offs. Mesh gets a lot of praise because it's breathable, it keeps you cool.
Oh, yeah, that's huge.
Huge plus, especially if you run warm or live somewhere hot. Leather, on the other hand, gives you that premium executive look, but yeah, it can absolutely get sticky and hot.
Right in there.
Right. And then other types like kneeling or saddle chairs, these different kinds of fabrics, often softer, designed for those specific postures.
Okay. And the last key feature mentioned, design, seems a bit subjective.
Well, yes and no. Design isn't just about looks, it's also about function in your space.
Ah,
Like, do you need something low profile and simple, like a task chair because your office is tiny? Or are you looking for a big, substantial executive chair that, looks impressive on Zoom calls?
right. The visual matters too sometimes.
It can. And the article points to brands like Herman Miller as examples of combining really stylish design
Yeah.
with very smart ergonomic features. So it doesn't have to be ugly to be good for you.
Okay, so we've got the fundamentals. What makes a chair ergonomic? The key features like adjustability, lumbar support, material, design. Now, the article really opens up the world of options. It shows there's a whole range of types.
Exactly. And the author's experience trying out a bunch of these really reinforces that there's no single best chair for everyone. It totally depends on you and how you work.
That seems to be the core message when looking at the different types listed.
Yeah. Instead of just one kind of ergonomic chair, the article reveals this whole spectrum. Maybe we can group them a bit, like the traditional ones, then the more active or alternative ones.
Good idea. Let's start with the ones people probably picture first, the typical office chair style.
Okay, so you've got your basic task chair. The article describes these as, simple, flexible, best for shorter periods, maybe 2 to 5 hours of sitting.
Right.
You have the standard stuff, wheels, swivel, basic height, maybe tilt adjustment.
Pros.
Usually budget friendly, don't take up much space, easy to move around, good for students, part-time remote work, maybe a small home office.
Like the flash furniture mid-back task chair example they give.
Exactly. The downside is usually limited support for really long days, and often pretty basic lumbar, if any.
Then you step up from that to the executive chair.
Yeah, often kind of the opposite in feel. Usually large, lots of cushioning, tall back, designed for comfort over many hours.
That's comfy.
Usually are. Thick padding, often higher-end materials like leather, more adjustable arms typically.
Mm.
Pros are definitely the soft cushioning and that high-end look. Cons, they take up space. And like we said, leather can get warm.
Mm-hmm.
The Serta AR executive chair is mentioned specifically because it tries to address that heat issue with some airflow design. The article suggests these suit full-time professionals who really value that plush comfort and traditional look.
Okay. And then there's the one that seems super popular now, sort of blending features but really focusing on airflow, the mesh ergonomic chair.
Yes. The meshed back is the defining thing here. Excellent breathability keeps you cool. The author actually mentions switching from leather to mesh for exactly this reason,
Ah,
and
smart.
found it made a massive difference, especially in warmer months. These chairs are generally built for long hours. They offer that custom fit through adjustable lumbar, arms, tilt, seat depth usually.
So lots of adjustability.
Typically, yes. They often hit a good sweet spot between adjustability, solid support, and maybe being a bit more affordable than some high-end executive chairs. The Gabriel Women gets highlighted again as a bestseller in this category. Good adjustment range for the price.
Yeah, any downsides to mesh?
The main thing the source warns about is mesh quality. If you get a really cheap one, the mesh can sag or stretch out over time, losing its support.
Good point. Okay, so those are kind of the standard shapes, maybe. But the article then dives into some really different looking chairs. The ones focused on more active sitting or alternative postures.
Exactly. These are aimed at people who maybe struggle with just sitting still in a traditional chair all day. First up, the kneeling chair.
These look interesting.
They do.
Yeah.
The design opens up your hip angle, and you shift some weight onto pads where your knees rest. The idea is it encourages a more upright spine and takes pressure off the lower back.
Does it work?
The author tried one, said it felt pretty weird at first, but it definitely helped their posture. But they also said they couldn't really use it for a full 8-hour day. They had to switch out.
So it takes getting used to, and maybe not for everyone, or all the time.
Right. Pros are spinal alignment, maybe some core engagement. Cons are it can be tough for long periods, and definitely not great if you have existing knee problems. The dragon chair is mentioned as an example with adjustable angles.
Mm-hmm.
The suggestion is best for shorter tasks, maybe if you're actively working on posture, or paired with a standing desk.
Okay. Similar idea, opening the hips, but looks totally different. The saddle chair.
Yeah, this one looks just like a horse saddle. You sit with your legs apart. Again, promotes an upright posture, but it also allows for a lot of movement, shifting your weight.
Or mobile.
Much more. The author found this one helpful when they were using a standing desk a lot to stop them from slouching when they did sit down for a bit. Pros. Encourages being upright, can be good for back and hips, lots of freedom to move. Cons. Definitely takes adjustment time. Might feel odd for typical desk tasks where you want to be more planted. Sally Saddle Chairs get a mention as a key brand. Best for people who like to move or shift between sitting and standing often.
And then there's the one that looks like gym equipment wandered into the office.
Yeah.
The ball chair. Stability ball chair.
Yes, exactly. Uses an inflatable exercise ball as the seat. The whole point is it forces you to make tiny, constant adjustments to stay balanced.
Engages your core.
Supposedly, yes. Engages core muscles. The author tried a game one. Said it was kind of fun for casual stuff, quick emails maybe, but they quickly found it just didn't have the back support or stability needed for deep work or long meetings.
Makes sense. You need to be still sometimes to really focus.
Totally. So pros. Might encourage better posture, works the core, keeps you subtly moving. Cons. Zero back support. Really not meant for long stretches of sitting. Best for very short informal use, or maybe as an active break. Often a secondary chair, not the main one.
The article also grouped some chairs just under the banner of active sitting chairs. What falls under that?
Yeah, this is kind of a category for chairs designed specifically to encourage movement while you sit. Think bases that allow tilting, wobbling, swiveling easily.
Like wobble stools.
Exactly, wobble stools or balance stools. The idea is these small, continuous movements keep your body engaged, wake up muscles, help maintain alertness. The author mentions seeing one that looked almost like a toy, but users swore it helped them focus and feel less stiff. But, again, takes getting used to.
Pros and cons.
Pros are that body engagement, potential posture help. Cons are generally no back support, and it could be tiring if you need to do really static, focused work for hours. Very active seat is an example, best for people who fidget a lot or just hate sitting still.
And the really simple backless version of that concept, the ergonomic stool.
Pretty much. Basic stool, offered with a rounded or wobble base, promotes active sitting and core work just by making you balance yourself.
Practical use.
The author used one for things like quick brainstorming, but found it wasn't suitable for, say, hours of writing because of the lack of back support. Pros. Very compact, easy to move, boosts focus through that activity. Cons. No back support, not comfy for long periods. The Verrier Move stool is an example.
Okay, that covers the sort of active and alternative styles. What about chairs designed for specific situations, like different desk heights or work modes?
Right. The article touches on a few niche types too, like the drafting chair.
For architects and stuff.
Yeah, or anyone with a higher work surface. They're basically just tall chairs designed for raised desks, standing desks used in sit mode, or workbenches. The key feature is usually a foot ring.
Ah, so your feet aren't dangling.
Exactly. That foot ring gives you support, prevents strain. The author used one with a standing desk setup and said it worked well. Pros. Essential if your desk is high, foot ring helps. Cons. Takes up more vertical space, won't fit under a standard desk. Flash furniture is mentioned for these.
And what about when work is maybe less intense? The ergonomic lounge chair with ottoman.
Yeah, this one's definitely not your main get work done chair. It's built purely for comfort, for reading reports, taking calls away from the desk, thinking, or just taking a proper break.
Nice to have.
Totally. It often reclines a bit, comes with that footrest or ottoman. The author apparently keeps one in the corner of their office for tasks like reviewing notes. Pros, great for rest and focused thought off desk, can be very stylish, supports your legs and back fully. Cons, obviously not for typing, needs more space. An Eames lounge chair replica is suggested as a way to get that luxury feel without the huge price tag.
The article also brings up something interesting using gaming chairs for work, but specifically the ergonomic ones.
Yes, this is a crossover trend. These chairs often look quite distinct. High backs, deep cushions, very adjustable armrests, usually reclining features, often extra pillows for lumbar and neck.
Built for long sessions.
Exactly. Built for marathon gaming sessions. So the thinking is they can work for long office hours too, if they have solid ergonomic foundations.
Any caveats?
The author mentions friends who bought them for the look, but ended up loving the comfort for long Zoom marathons. But the author's own test of a Respawn 110 found it comfy, but definitely less breathable than their mesh chair.
The heat issue again, potentially?
Could be. So pros, often great head neck support, highly adjustable. Cons. The aesthetic isn't for everyone. Some might prioritize looks over true ergonomics. Can be bulky. Secretlab Titan EVO is given as a popular example.
Okay, nearly there. Last type mentioned is the hybrid ergonomic chair. What's that?
This basically refers to chairs that try to blend features from multiple categories. So maybe the posture benefits of a kneeling chair combined with the back support of a task chair, for example.
Sounds complicated.
Can be. The article describes testing one that had like a rotating seat and knee supports. It's for users with very specific needs or who want a unique mix of benefits. Pros, potentially highly customizable comfort. Cons could be pricey, might take real effort to get adjusted just right. The author felt one was like 2 chairs in ones once dialed in. Brands like Verrier and Human Scale often play in this hybrid space.
Wow, okay, that's a lot of chairs. It really hammers home that picking one isn't just about finding one that looks okay online.
Not at all. And the author really emphasizes this, even mentioning their own first chair purchase was a mistake. Choosing the right chair is super personal. It's a journey, not just ticking a box.
So, given all those options, how does the article suggest someone actually figure this out? How do you find your chair in that sea of choices?
It breaks it down into practical steps. First, you really got to be honest about your work habits.
Like how long you actually sit.
Exactly. How many hours a day?
Mm-hmm.
And what are you doing during that time? Mostly typing, lots of video calls, reading, analyzing data. This helps narrow down the types we just discussed.
Right, like task chair for short bursts, maybe mesh or executive for the long haul.
Reclining if you're on calls all day and want to shift position. Active chairs if you fidget or hate being static. Match the chair type to your typical day.
Okay, assess the work. Step 2.
Consider your body type and any specific health needs. This is critical. Your height, your weight, any existing issues like back pain, hip stiffness, neck problems.
Like the author being 5'4" and needing a chair that fit her.
Perfect example. If you have back problems, you need to prioritize chairs known for excellent adjustable lumbar support. They mention brands like Steelcase or Herman Miller for their more advanced options there. If your knees bother you, probably skip the kneeling chair. It's about listening to what your body needs.
And then circle back to those features we talked about earlier.
Yes. Step 3 is evaluate adjustability and support specifically for you. Can this chair adjust to fit your height, your arm length and position?
Yeah.
Can you get that seat depth right? Does the lumbar support actually hit your lower back curve?
That feeling of it fitting just right.
That's what you're aiming for, and that feeling comes directly from being able to adjust it properly.
Okay. And the last piece is the practical side. Space and style.
Yep. Does the chair physically fit in your room?
Yeah.
Those big executive chairs or lounge chairs need decent space.
Right.
Whereas a task chair or a stool can tuck away easily. And then, yeah, the look. Does it match your home office vibe? The article makes a nice point that comfort shouldn't mean sacrificing style entirely. There are options out there.
So it boils down to, does it suit how I work? Can it adjust to my body? Will it physically fit? And I guess the elephant in the room, budget.
Exactly. And the article is pretty direct about budget. See a good ergonomic chair as an investment in your health and productivity.
Not just furniture.
Right. While you might find basic task chairs around $100, $250, quality mesh often starts around $250 and goes up to $500 or more. Executive chairs, high-end hybrids, those can easily be $500 to $1,200 plus.
So a real range.
Huge range. But the advice is clear. Don't cheap out if you're sitting all day. It often pays for itself in comfort, focus, and maybe even fewer chiropractor visits down the line.
Good point. And what about that temptation to just get a cool-looking gaming chair for the office? Final verdict on that.
The article gives it a qualified yes. If it has the core ergonomic features, good adjustability, proper lumbar support, it can work. But you need to weigh that against the potential downsides. Maybe less breathability than mesh, and an aesthetic that might not be for everyone or every WFH setup. Function first, style second.
That feels like a really thorough journey through the world of ergonomic chairs, all based on this one article's deep dive.
Yeah, and I think to sort of wrap up the key takeaways, the article's final verdict really hits it. An ergonomic chair is way more than just a seat. It's a support system for your back, your posture, your ability to focus.
And choosing the best one is incredibly personal. It's all about finding that specific match for your work style, your body, and making sure it has the adjustability you need.
Absolutely. And we've seen there's a huge range of options now. Basic mesh if budget's tight, reclining chairs for comfort during calls, active chairs if you need to move, hybrids for specific needs. There's likely something out there that fits.
The author's final practical advice feels really key after all this theory. Test a few if you can. Sit, adjust, recline. Your back will know when it's right.
Mm-hmm. You really can't beat trying it out yourself.
It's so true.
Which kind of leaves us with a final thought for you, the listener, to chew on. Thinking about everything we've just unpacked, all these chair types, all these features, and thinking about your own home office setup right now. What parts of your current chair are genuinely helping you? And maybe more honestly, what parts are maybe holding you back or causing discomfort?
And based on that, and everything we've talked about from the article today, which type of ergonomic chair we discussed feels like it might offer the biggest potential upgrade for your specific way of working and your body's needs? Something to think about.